Hello from the Travel Tracker. Today's tip is for transportation administrators. I'm going to show you a nice feature called Special Invoices. Special invoices can be used to invoice outside agencies, for example, perhaps to create a manual invoice, or to invoice for mileage adjustments, or perhaps to reserve a vehicle for vehicle maintenance. The Transportation Administrator can create a special invoice by selecting Create Special Invoice on the Invoices tab. The invoice only, the mileage adjustment option, and the vehicle maintenance option invoices can be created. First of all, let's talk about how do you set up your tables to be able to access your special invoices. Go to your Setup Tables tab and select the trip types and rates. Now from this table is where you will turn on the option to access certain types of special invoices. So in your table here, of course, you have your field trip and your athletic trip. Those are for the request forms. Now invoice only, mileage adjustment, quick reserve, and vehicle maintenance are types of special invoices, and if you want to have the option to use those, then you need to turn them on here in this table. So if you wanted to turn one on, you would simply click on the type of special invoice. It will open up the table. Click Edit, and then be sure you set the status to active. Of course, you want to keep it in the trip category of do not display on the trip form, since they are not a trip request, they are a special invoice. Once you have turned it to active, then you click the submit button, and that will cause that particular type of special invoice to be available. If you do not wish to use one of these special invoice types, then you would set it to inactive and click the submit button. Now, in order to create a special invoice, we're going to the Invoices tab. From the Invoices tab, select Create Special Invoice from your options. Now this is the way all of the special invoices begin. The first thing that you do is click on the drop down and decide which type of special invoice you are wanting to create. The invoice only type is a way to create a manual invoice, and this is a very flexible use. For example, if a outside agency used your vehicles and you wanted to invoice them, but they did not put a trip request form in, there was never an assignment made through Travel Tracker, so there isn't an invoice for that trip, then you could create an invoice only type and indicate the different vehicles that may have been used and the cost information, and create a special invoice that's just for cost reimbursement, for example. The mileage adjustment option is just what it sounds like. This is an invoice that you could create if you needed to adjust the mileage cost on a previous trip. So the invoice was maybe incorrect, the original, and you need to adjust the mileage and be reimbursed for the difference in that mileage. Quick reserve is also a very helpful type of special invoice. What the quick reserve allows you to do is to reserve a vehicle or vehicles for a trip in the future when the trip request form has not been entered. And so this can be helpful for situations where perhaps the requester does not have all the information to be able to submit the request. However, they do know how many vehicles they're going to need and perhaps the date and time. And so this will allow you to go in and quickly reserve a vehicle for a trip in the future before the actual request form has ever been submitted for approval, for example. The vehicle maintenance option is also a very useful option in the special invoices, because this one is going to allow you to take a vehicle out of rotation in order to do maintenance on it. So you can create a special invoice and reserve that vehicle for a day or a period of time that will not be available in your Find Available Vehicles button. So let's go ahead and create a special invoice. And again, there's lots of different uses and options in these, so you're going to see lots of flexibility. Any of these that you pick, they all are going to have the same options in them. Whether you use all the options will be up to you and what kind of invoice you are creating. So whether you choose any of the trip options, it's all going to kind of look the same. What you utilize is up to you. Some of the things are required though. For example, you do need to pick a requesting location. So notice here, if you were using the invoice only or the mileage adjustment, you don't have to pick a vehicle type or a vehicle number since it's not scheduling a vehicle. But if you are if you are doing the quick reserve or the vehicle maintenance, you would be reserving that vehicle, taking it out of the rotation and out of availability, and so you would want to pick that. Now you notice you do have a print button if you'd like it. The trip code is automatically assigned. SI stands for special invoices and then the number. The destination description here, you can fill these in. It can be the actual destination if it's a quick reserve. It can be a trip number if you're doing a mileage adjustment. It could be left blank. So you can use these fields as you need to. So let's just go ahead and fill this in as a reference to a different trip and maybe our destination. You will need to put in your dates and times. Now this is also something that you may not necessarily know, or it may not matter, depending on again the type of special invoice you're creating. But you need to put something in, even if it isn't the real thing, just in order to make this special invoice. So once you've entered in your dates and times, click the Validate Dates to Continue button. And now what this is going to do is open up all of the different sections of the invoice, which you are already accustomed to. Now, if you again are doing just an invoice only, or if you are doing a mileage adjustment, you may not need to pick the vehicle and the vehicle number, but you may also want to if you would like to. If you are doing a quick reserve, obviously you will want to reserve a particular vehicle. If you are doing the vehicle maintenance type, you will want to choose a particular vehicle. So you would just use your drop downs and reserve the vehicles if that's something that you need to do. Again, optional, but it depends on the type of a special invoice you're creating. You can pick a funding source. You can add a driver. Again, could be an optional thing. You can go ahead and fill it in if you need to. It could be something that you'll wait until a later date. You're just needing to get the special invoice created and waiting on the trip to occur, perhaps. You can enter in mileage. This may not be something that you do right away. Again, this may be something that comes later. You can leave that blank. Other options that you are used to using for your regular invoices are all here. When you scroll down to the payment information, you can leave it pending if it is a trip that's in the future. If you're doing a mileage adjustment, you would have adjusted that mileage. And then what status you choose to put this particular invoice in, again, depends on the type of invoice that it is. It may just be a do not bill if it's a quick reserve. It may be an approved for payment if you're doing a mileage adjustment and you're going to be forwarding this invoice on to the school to make up the difference in an invoice that was completed with the wrong mileage in it. So again, it's up to you how you want to finish filling this in. Once you have entered all of the information that's necessary for this particular one, just click the Save and Close button. Say OK. And then that will save this special invoice for you. Now let me show you how to view those special invoices that you've created. We do give you an option here to display your special invoices, so you can click on that and it will bring up a list of all the special invoices. It looks like a assignment inquiry, but it's just for special invoices. So if we click our um, apply filters button, there we can see the special invoices that we have created here, and they open the same way. So you can click the button to open this one, and then there we have that special invoice waiting on us. If it's one that was for a future trip, we can fill that in and take care of this just like we do all of our other invoices. So I hope that this has been helpful, and that you'll find the use of the special invoices to be a really good feature and something that you may need to use sometime in the future. Thank you.